Hi everybody, I hope you've all been well. I have been a very busy bee this week whilst I've been away since you last saw me, because I have finished work for my holiday. A massive project that I've been involved in finally finished on Friday, so it was quite a slog to get through the week just because there was so much to get done, but we did it. We met the deadline and that was absolutely brilliant, and I am now done for my week and a little bit off. Tomorrow I've got my day in hospital, to get my sort of MOT after I was ill a couple of months ago, and then I've got an entire working week off, so I'm very much looking forward to it. It's what I have needed, but literally all I've done this week is work and sleep and try to watch things, but falling asleep at very early, that kind of jazz, because I've just been so blinking tired. It's just the way it is, but now I've got a week to relax and I'm so excited for that. But what I have been trying to get through this week is Her Husband's Mistake by Sheila O'Flanagan, and I'm here to talk about it. Now, I have a little pet peeve, a bit of annoyance with Sheila O'Flanagan at the beginning of this book. And when I say the beginning, I mean it's probably about, I don't know, 20 odd pages in, but it's still relatively, in a book like this, relatively like right near the beginning. And in it, I should explain, you may know this from watching videos that I've been making of late, but for the past about 2 months I've been watching Grey's Anatomy for the first time, and yesterday I started series 11, so I'm like the halfway now through the whole 20 series that they have done, and I'm making my way through at a good pace. In 2 months I've gotten through 10 series. That's not bad at all. But anyway, there is a certain character, and I'm not going to say who because I don't want to be spoiling something which is the annoyance that I'm going to talk about in this book. But yeah, there is a character still in the show, been there since the beginning, yada yada yada. And about like 20 odd pages through this, the main character Roxy talks about seeing a client who she's gone to pick up from the airport, and how much they look like this character from Grey's Anatomy. And then she puts in brackets, I was really upset and angry, or words to this effect, I'm not saying verbatim, when they killed him off in Grey's Anatomy. And I tell you, I was like, excuse me? Just not at the writers of Grey's Anatomy for doing that, because quite frankly I don't like his character at all, but that's another thing. But I'm like, you've just made a major spoil for someone like me who is jumping on the Grey's Anatomy bandwagon years after it had started, and you're going to throw that at me? Can we please have it be that if you're going to do something like that, be more subtle? Be just like, oh my god. If they said, oh, I was really sad when X actor decided to leave the show, that's, but actually explicitly saying what happened to the character, I hate spoilers like that. It really pisses me off. So thank you, Sheila O'Flanagan, for spoiling Grey's Anatomy for me. There we go. But there we are. But yeah, what is this book about? Let me explain. Let's get on with this review after my rant about Grey's Anatomy. So it's about a woman called Roxy, who her father has just died, and it's just after his funeral, like the day after the funeral. She's a very strong woman. She's taken over her father's business of driving people, and has regular clients that she's taken over from her dad, obviously, as well as new clients, and she has to keep the business going. She's married, she's got 2 kids, she's also looking after her mum after her dad died. She's got a lot on her plate. She's a very strong woman who doesn't really give into her emotions too much. She's very much, okay, what shit needs to be done, let's do this, get in, that kind of individual. And the first line of this book, I think, sets the tone of this very thing, right? This is the first line. The morning after my father's funeral, I came home to find my husband in bed with the next door neighbour. It's like, oh, okay, we're just delving right in. Okay. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I had to DNF this book. I gave it my 100-page rule. I got to 100 pages and I just could not carry on with this book. So I'm being upfront about it. And the major irk that I had with this book was that I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. Now, that isn't saying that Sheila O'Flanagan, the writer, doesn't take the time in order to get to know characters, because the whole thing is that she has this sudden opening and then you learn about things about characters as it goes on. Fair play. Totally fine with that. But the problem is that straight away I forgot to mention, it's all written from Roxy's point of view, is that because you slam it straight from the first sentence, it's just like, whoa, jarring. We don't even get told Roxy's name until about 5 pages in, and I'm trying to figure out who the heck these people are that she's referring to and why she's reacting the way she is. We don't get any dialogue until about 20 pages into this book. It just, I'm correcting myself straight away. I don't think it's 20 pages. I think it's probably more about 15, but still, near enough. But I was wrong saying 20. I think it's more like about 15. But yeah, we don't get any dialogue. It's just this mass dump from the point of view of Roxy, who we don't even find out her name until about 5 pages in. And you're like, what? It kind of feels like, when I say when, but I'm just in my imagination, like fictional characters where they go to a bar and the barman pours them a drink and then suddenly they're just telling the barman their life story. It kind of feels like that, and I'm the barman and I'm like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for what? Why are you telling me all of this stuff? It just felt very odd, and I felt quite kind of uncomfortable in a sense, because I'm like, why are you blurting out your life story to me when I haven't asked for it, just straight off the mark? I'd like to actually know your name first. I'd like to know how old you are. I'd like to know what situation I'm going into here, because I don't understand. I don't just give me a little time to breathe and understand your world, to then understand why you are reacting the way you're reacting. Because to see your reaction with no context, that's quite weird. I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like it. Now, as the book goes on, we do get to know more about her life, her kids, her work, etc., makeup routines and outfits and such as that, and it's just like the actual story itself, once you've gotten past that initial opening and that like jarring stuff is mentioned, it then just becomes really boring. I'm sorry, but it does. All we're doing is following her on her day-to-day work, sort of conversations with people, but again, it's like the dialogue is just sort of sporadic, and it doesn't really it doesn't really feel real. I very much am aware that I'm reading a fictional book. You know how with me I say that thing, and it's as if everybody knows what I'm like with my reading. If you don't, here's the thing. With me, I want to feel like I am in that world, that I'm a part of that world. I don't want to feel like I am up against like a glass screen, like I want to reach in and something's stopping me. I'm not even there with this book. I am on the sofa, on the back, or on a chair, should I say, in the back row of a stadium with my feet up, playing on my phone whilst the story is playing down there on stage. And that is a concert setting kind of thing. I don't care. I'm not interested whatsoever. Structurally, I understand what she was doing, Sheila, by writing this show, by doing the shock thing first and then going back. I mean, compared to other things that I have read, I have no problem with having like a shocking opener and then going, okay, now I'm going to give you space. But the thing is that the shocking opener is usually like a couple of pages or something of something that either you don't understand, something that just is so bizarre, or it's part of this big thing. Then you have chapter or two of establishing all the information, jumping back in time, possibly, of saying this is what everything is, and you see the build up to that thing that got teased at the beginning, and then it goes, and then you go, oh, that makes so much sense. Clear thing that comes to mind is Jessie Burton, The Miniaturist. I love that book. I think that's a great book. I've not read the sequel yet because I don't see the point of the sequel, but then that's a whole nother matter. I'm not interested in reading that book. I'd rather just go with The Miniaturist. Now, The Miniaturist opens with a scene. I'm not going to say exactly what it is because obviously spoilers, and you read it and you go, what? Okay, then it jumps back in time and we have the whole story build up, and then we have that scene again from another person's perspective near the end of the book, and then you go, oh my god. And then when you go back to the front of the book after reading, and this is what I did, I went back to that first page, I was like, the answer's there, it's right there. The answer is there. I love it when authors do that because it just shows the complexity of stories and how from different people's perspectives it can look very different. And I kind of felt like with this thing of why is the husband sleeping with the neighbour, the different perspectives and everything. And I think what Sheila was trying to kind of convey with this book, and things are not always what they seem, and the process of grief and the various stages and the messed up stuff that can happen in that process. I thought something like that would have been so much better, but the structure that she's gone with means that, as I said, you get all this like shit thrown at you at the very beginning, and you're like, what? I don't even know your name, sweetheart. How can you expect me to care about you and everything, and you're ranting from your perspective about the betrayal and everything when I don't even know your name? I need time to understand you. I need time to get to know you. So give me that time. I just felt, the more I read it, the more frustrated I felt at characters and the more bored I felt. I totally understand that this is about, stages of grief as mentioned, and etc., and friendships and loyalty and such, but it just feels like a mess, and it's very much, I think, being written for a certain age of female audience. I feel like because of things that Roxy was saying, especially talking about towards her children and betrayal and all that lot, that as someone who doesn't have kids, who doesn't have a husband, none of that, I kind of felt like it was written for people who understand that. This is not being necessarily written for everyone, because it felt like Roxy was having like silent communications with her audience, go, you know what that feels, you know what that's like, you know what it's like having frustrations of coming home and finding your husband hasn't done XYZ jobs, or has ordered takeaway when who's come home with like boxes of pizzas where you've spent time cooking a family meal, that kind of thing. It just felt, and I don't have that, so at times I felt kind of excluded from the process that Roxy goes through with her thoughts and her feelings about her husband. I know, it felt like a bit like, that's a bit weird. But then that's just from my perspective, obviously. I'm not saying that those who don't have the same life as Roxy won't understand the certain feelings or whatever during the course of this read. It's just like, for me, just her friends and such automatically understand where she's coming from and etc. And I'm like, do I? I just felt kind of frustrated with Roxy. And as I said, I didn't give a shit. I honestly didn't care. So I was just reading this just because it was words on the page and getting through them. And I hit the 100-page mark and I went, no, I'm not carrying on with this. So I had to stop. I didn't. And funnily enough, there it is. This book arrived. This is from the secondhand advent calendar, and there is a spine break right here. I'm running my finger along it. As you see, it's not very far. And when I opened where that spine break is, it is. Oh, hang on. What do you know? Right, there we go. You can see it. The spine break. It is page 100. So whoever also had this book before me didn't make it past page 100. And I understand why. It just feels a bit... It feels like I am the wrong audience for it. It's very, very easy reading. You don't need much attention span for it. It does feel at times really awkward and a bit clunky. And as I said, I didn't give a damn about the characters. I didn't like Roxy. I just, everything, it just, I was just reading it because I felt like I had to read it for my channel. Honest to God. And yeah, yesterday when I got to the 100-page mark, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I don't give a shit. I can't carry on. I cannot carry on with this book. So I had to stop. So, and this is my first experience with Sheila O'Flanagan, and I have a feeling it will be the last. I mean, I'm all for celebrating women's strengths and such in books and that, and yeah, for all the stuff that Roxy had to deal with, you know, taking over her father's business, dealing with her father's funeral, looking after her mum, looking after her kids, and everything. She is a strong-ass woman, no doubt about that. But yeah, it just felt like, though, she deserved a better written story. Or at least that's my opinion. And you know, some people may disagree with me and say this is an absolutely amazing book. Some people may agree with me. I don't know, but these are just my thoughts. So, I mean, I'd love to hear thoughts of people who have read this, if they agree or disagree with me. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but yeah, it's a no from me. So those are my thoughts on Her Husband's Mistake by Sheila O'Flanagan. It's time to ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? Hell to the no. I DNF'd it. It's no. Would I read any more of Sheila O'Flanagan's work? No, not interested whatsoever. Would I recommend this to anyone? No. I really, really wouldn't. It just felt wrong on so many levels. I can't go there. So there we go, my thoughts on Her Husband's Mistake by Sheila O'Flanagan. Have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment, comments what's below, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely to you, let you decide. And I will be back with my next book review. I have just filmed the next 5 reads, which you'll be seeing in the next video, and I am very excited. Let me put it that way. All right, everyone. Bye.